Starting today in a really restorative version of child's pose. So draw the knees, feet to about hip width apart. Soften your forehead either down to the ground or down to a cushion. And just allow the arms to rest by your sides. And just settle into this little seedling-like shape. This really grounding posture. So many points of your body in contact with the ground, so many points of the body in contact with yourself. And just start to feel the support that exists underneath you. As you feel into this unconditional support of the earth beneath, you start to give yourself permission to soften into it. Allow the bones to get heavy. Allow the muscular structure supporting the bones just to soften. And let yourself be held here. Just start to acknowledge the quality of the breath. Start to observe where it's at without trying to change anything. Just feel its natural ebbs and flows. The pace of the inhale. The pace of the exhale. And also notice all the spaces in between. Those spaces where maybe the breath may get stuck. And even where the breath flows freely. And taking a couple more breaths to feel this version of child's pose in your body. Now going to come into a more expansive form of child's pose, a little more active. So draw the knees out wide to about mat width apart. Big toes touch and extend the arms out in front of you. And here, can you get a little more active? So as you inhale, reach forward and down, grip down in the finger pads. And even come up onto the tippy tops of your fingers to give the heart a little more space to melt down. With the exhale, just draw the hips a little bit closer towards the heels. Inhale, feel that expansion of the back body as the fingertips charge forwards. Breathe into the space between each rib, expand. Exhale, feel the sitting bones anchor just a little closer to the earth beneath you. Expansive with the inhale, grounding, supported with the exhale. And just noticing how these two shapes, they're both child's pose, but different variations. And the two variations probably feel quite different in the body. And in the way one may feel better than the other, you can modify every asana, every posture in yoga to meet you where you're at, physically, emotionally, energetically. Take one more breath. And tuck your chin to your chest. Slowly begin to articulate the spine. Stack one vertebrae on top of the other. And can you feel that transition be slow? Building blocks of your spine, of your stability, of your center. The head comes up last. Beautiful. Make your way into a tabletop shape. So wrists roughly underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And just take a moment here. How does the ground feel beneath the hands? So start to grip down as if you were like squishing your hands into mud. Start to feel the texture of the earth beneath you. And notice if it feels kind of funky in your shoulder girdle with the fingertips pointed forward. If it does, just play with angling the hands, either fingertips out a little bit, maybe in a little bit. Just find a version of this shape that lands in your anatomy. Maybe the knees are hip width apart, maybe they're a little wider, whatever feels good. Good. Now meet in this neutral tabletop, gaze just beyond the top of your mat. Feel the cervical spine, the vertebrae and the neck align with the thoracic and lumbar, the mid to lower spine. And tilt the wheel of your pelvis forward. Feel the lower belly start to drip down. And spread the collarbones, roll your upper arm bones, your humerus bones outwards, external rotation as you start to lift your gaze and open the throat. And while you're here, engage the muscles supporting your lower back, the muscles supporting your lumbar spine, and notice how that engagement of the lower back creates an equal and oppositional opening through the front of the belly. So every action having an equal and oppositional reaction. As you inch the shoulder blades a little bit closer together, engaging through the mid to upper back, the chest starts to open a little more. Take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, reverse the shape, push the ground away, tuck your chin to your chest. Feel the point between the shoulder blades lift up towards the sky. Pull your navel into your spine and roll the tailbone forward. Squeeze your glutes towards the back of the knees. Feel this little rainbow shape through the spine. A few really slow, mindful, carefully articulated cat-cows. Inhale, tilt the pelvis forward, dance your heart up, look up. Exhale, reverse the shape. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath, 2 more rounds of movement. Can you start to feel that relationship between your movement and your breath? You feel as if the movement was being initiated by your breath. Good. Take 1 more round. Meet back in that neutral tabletop. Good. Inhale, extend your right leg back. Kick your right leg back. Flex the foot, toes point down. Now anchor your right hip down a little bit, but lift your right heel higher. That will kind of be counterintuitive, but you want to feel your right side glutes fire. Feel the right side hamstrings fire. Now gaze beyond the top of your mat, lengthen through the back body. Feel as if the right heel is being pulled back and the crown of the head pulled forwards. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, draw your knee to your nose, dome through the upper back, push the ground away, push, push, push. Inhale, lengthen, kick the right heel back, draw the crown of the head forward. Exhale, knee to nose. Good, 2 more like this. Inhale, starting to wake up the core. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, this time draw the knee to the nose. Squeeze, 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 draw the knee a little closer to the nose, and then gently glide the right foot to the space between the hands. And start to sit into your hips. So if this already feels quite intense, draw the left knee a little closer towards the front of the mat. If you want to feel a little more stretch through the front of the left hip, the left side hip flexors, just tuck your left toes, squeegee your left knee back a little bit, and then untuck the toes. Good, option to stay here. Or if you'd like a little more, bring your hands up to your right thigh. Allow the shoulders to drip away from the ears. And start to lift the gaze up slightly. Now notice that you're staying supported here, so squeeze the glutes to give a little elevation to the hips, support in the lower body. And feel the point just below your navel above your pubic bone hug into the spine. And if you'd like a little more, you can begin to straighten the arms, apply some pressure to the right thigh, and lift the heart up, but making sure you keep the lower belly engaged to protect the lower back. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. Deep breath in. Exhale out through the nose to empty. 1 more. And exhale. Fingertip the ground, either side of your right foot, and start to walk the hands back, shift the hips back, and flex your right toes towards your face. Now, if the ground's really far away here, you can bring your hands onto like stacks of books, if you've got some accessible, or you can just bend the right knee a little more. You want to feel a stretch through the back of the right leg, so whatever you have to do to feel that, adjust accordingly. So if you want to make it a little more intense, you can begin to straighten the right leg and anchor the right hip crease back. And then feel as if your sternum or your breastbone was being pulled forwards. Lengthen through the sides of the neck. Half splits. 1 more breath. Inhale, rebend your right knee. Plant the hands, tuck your left toes, lift your left knee up off the ground. And as silently as you can, step your right foot back to meet the left, downward facing dog. And just take a little pedal out here, so don't worry about alignment, just move intuitively. So maybe give the head a little shake out, yes and no, give the hips a little wiggle. Maybe you even ripple forwards, maybe you come out of down dog, just move in a way your body needs to move. So often when our body calls for something, we like send it straight to voicemail and hit ignore. Can you answer that call right now? Good. Meet back in down dog. Listen closely. We're going to lower our knees down to the ground for tabletop, but to the count of 5. So lower down really slowly with control, lowering the knees towards the ground for 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Soften the knees down. Wrists underneath the shoulders once again. Inhale, extend the left leg back, kick the heel back, flex the foot. So just flexing the foot so that there's awareness there, the foot is active. Elevate the left heel, but drop your left hip down a little bit, so feel the muscles in the back of the left leg and the glutes fire. Draw the crown of the head forwards, draw the shoulders away from the ears, take an inhale. Exhale, and as if you were moving through honey, everything's a little slower, draw your knee to your nose. Inhale, extend, lengthen, elongate. Exhale, draw the knee to the nose, push the ground away, push, push, push. Inhale, lengthen, extend. Exhale, knee to nose, taking 2 more, starting to stoke that internal fire. And exhale. 1 more, lengthen, extend. This time, draw your knee to your nose and hold. Push the ground away, plug down into the knuckles of your forefingers, resist gravity. Draw the knee a little closer to the nose and almost effortlessly glide the left foot to the space between the hands. Now, if this feels like enough, feel free to stay here, or you can bring your hands up to your left thigh. And if this feels like too much, you can either bring the hands back down, inch your right knee a little closer towards the front of the mat. If you'd like more, tuck your right toes, squeegee your right knee back a little bit. Untuck the toes, option to bring the hands to the left thigh. Option to begin to straighten the arms a little bit more and lift the heart up. Little squeeze through the glutes to support your hips. And deepen the breath, feel that little invitation of space into the right side hip flexors. If the mind starts to wander, just drop back to the anchor of your breath. Feel the steady breath in, feel where it moves in the body. Feel the breath out, sense of release. Good, one more inhale. And exhale, fingertip the ground. Shift the hips back, 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 and flex the left foot towards the face. Now option, keep the hands here. I'm just adjusting my shirt a little bit. Option, keep the hands here. Option, bring your hands to blocks if you have them, or stacks of books also works. You can bend the left knee if that feels too intense, or straighten the left leg. Even more will be to draw your left hip crease back, your right hip point forward, and pull your sternum towards the front of the room as if you were extending a telescope. Good. Take 2 more breaths. Where can you soften? Bend the left knee. Reframe the foot with your hands. Tuck your right toes. Lift your right knee. Glide your left foot back to meet the right. Downward facing dog. Let's set up our down dog now. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Option to angle the fingers out a little bit or in a little bit if that feels better in your shoulders. Now take a tiny little micro bend through your arms, so almost as if you were hollowing out through the armpits. Lengthen through the sides of the neck, through the back of the neck. Feel the crown of the head anchor towards the ground. And pull your chest towards your thighs. Magnetize the heels towards the ground. Feel that little tug through the backs of the legs, the calves, the hamstrings. Now can you visualize yourself so gracefully, so smoothly transitioning into a high plank? And as you visualize that, do it. So make that visualization your reality. Use the inhale to draw the hips forward. Stack the shoulders over the wrists. Pull the kneecaps up into the thighs, gaze to the front. Roll the tailbone slightly towards your pubic bone to connect to your lower belly, and energize your heels towards the back of the room. Hug the thumbs together to feel the chest turn on. Take a deep breath in. Again, elegantly, smoothly draw the hips back and up. Downward facing dog. Let's do that a couple more times, and can you move with the rhythm of your breath? So feeling as if the breath is like a metronome or a guiding rhythm that guides you through the dance of your practice. Inhaling to high plank, exhaling to down dog, and feeling free to add any flourishes along the way. Let's just take one more. Lift the heels, roll forwards. And downward facing dog. So we've got a couple of variations for our vinyasas today that will be available to us. I'll talk us through the 2. Option 1 is a little softer. Ripple forwards, high plank. Soften the knees down to the ground, untuck the toes. Hover your chest and chin to the space between the thumbs. Keep your booty lifted and feel the triceps, the back of the upper arms engage. As you inhale, squeeze your glutes towards the back of the knees. Roll the tailbone towards your pubic bone and lift your sternum up. Roll the heads of the shoulders back and engage through the mid to upper back to shine a little brighter through the chest. Good, and while we're here, can you hover your hands just like a centimeter off the ground and feel that engagement at your lower back. Keep that engagement and glide the hands back down. Hands are just support. Push down into the tops of the feet. Draw your kneecaps up into your thighs. Take an inhale. Exhale through tabletop. And downward facing dog. Good. Take a round of breath. Let's do that a little more fluidly with the breath. Inhale, ripple forwards. Exhale, soften knees, chest and chin down. Inhale, drop the hips, lift your heart. Exhale through tabletop, downward facing dog. Feel free to take this variation every time, even when I speak to this next variation. Next option is stronger. Inhale, ripple forwards, high plank. Lower down halfway. Keep the shoulders and hips in line the best you can. Come onto the tops of the feet, engage your lower belly and lift the heart up. Plug down into the hands. Can you feel an equal and oppositional lift up through the crown of the head? Draw the shoulders away from the ears, pull your kneecaps up into your thighs, low belly in. Inhale. Exhale, roll over the toes. Feel the strength of your core. Take your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Good, take 2 breaths. Good, now take your choice of vinyasa, move through one together. Link your breath and movement seamlessly. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, lower down, either halfway or knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Now look at the space between your hands. And imagine like you're taking like a stroll on the beach or a stroll through your garden. You want that walk just to be playful and enjoy it. It's not about the destination, it's about the joy of the walk itself, feeling the earth beneath your feet as you slowly start to walk the hands up towards, start to walk the feet, up towards the hands. Maybe spreading the toes, gripping down into one toe pad at a time. Until you're at the tippy top of your mat, there's no rush to get there. Bend the knees, grab hold of opposite elbows. And can you bend the knees enough so that the belly and the thighs touch? So it's not about the stretch of the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. It is about creating space in your lower back here. Feel as if the vertebrae are pouring out of the pelvis, water falling down. Each exhale, the upper body draws a little closer to the earth beneath. And switch the grip, opposite forearm on top. Release both arms. How slowly can you rise up to stand? If you have low blood pressure, come up especially slowly. Feeling each vertebrae stack on top of the other. Rise up to stand. Good, now stand at the tippy top of your mat. And stand however you naturally stand. So maybe the feet are hip width apart, maybe the feet are together. And just shut down your eyes for a moment. I just want you to play with your center of gravity. So shift the weight forward, back, left and right. And just kind of notice where you're holding yourself. Can you ground down equally into your left and right foot? Grip down into your toe pads. Feel even the toes clasp down onto the stability of the ground beneath. And lift through the inner arches of the feet. Equally balance between feet. Scrub your heels into the floor, and as you pull the heels away from one another, feel the outer hips fire. Draw the kneecaps up into the thighs. Imagine like you're rolling your tailbone towards your pubic bone to connect to your lower belly. Climb the length of your spine as you inhale. Feel the crown of the head draw up, almost as if the chin were resting on a little shelf. You can stand taller. And drip the shoulders away from the ears, almost as if the fingertips were weighted, drawing the shoulders towards the ground. Feel the stability in the feet, the lightness, the length through the spine, and the free flow of breath. Inhale your arms up to the sky, palms press. Your hands, palms to meet at the center of the chest, bow your head to your heart. Take one round of breath here, humbling this thinking space to this feeling space, the head to the heart. We move from this place of feeling, of intuition, of love towards ourselves. Flutter the eyes open, inhale, reach up, sun A. Exhale, bend the knees, pivot from your hips, melt over the thighs, forward fold. Take a halfway lift, inhale, hands to shins, draw the heart forward. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Option, lower knees, chest and chin, option, lower halfway. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath. Land the feet between the hands, forward fold, top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, empty, fold forwards. Stand, inhale, rise, stand in your feet. Tadasana, arms to your sides. Good, inhale, reach up, look up. Lifting the energy, building the energy, exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back, high plank, knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga, lower halfway. Exhale. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, down dog. 2 rounds of breath, slowly building heat. Land between the hands. You can walk, step, or float there. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Stand, rise, inhale. Tadasana, exhale. 2 more rounds. Invite a little more fluidity in. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Plant the hands, step it back, lower down. Heart lifts, inhale. Down dog, exhale. 1 round of breath. Land between the hands. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold. Stand up, reach up, inhale. Exhale, Tadasana, stand. Feel free to move at your own pace if it's different than the pace I'm instructing. Move through 1 more round. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step it back, lower down. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, down dog, 1 breath. Land between the hands, halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, cascade forwards. Stand up, reach up, inhale. Stand, Tadasana, exhale. Shut down the eyes, let the breath steady. Feel those shapes simmer. Feel them land in your body, marinate. And flutter the eyes open. Stand at the top of your mat. If you're not already, reach up, inhale. Bring your hands, palms to heart, center, and sit your hips low, Utkatasana, exhale. Build a little more heat before we build our flow. Scrub your heels into the floor, so pull the heels away from one another as if you're ripping a little spot in the mat between your feet. And simultaneously magnetize the inseams of your thighs towards one another, connecting to the midline. Pull your sternum into your thumbs to shine a little brighter through your chest. Draw the shoulder blades together and down the length of your spine. Back down to the feet. Can you see the toes? If you can't, can you see the tops of the feet? If you can't, shift your shins back a little bit. Sit your hips a little bit lower. Good. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, sit a little lower into the flames. One more inhale. Exhale, belly to thighs, fold forwards. Will always be one of my favorite transitions in yoga. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back, downward facing dog. Option, stay here for 2 rounds of breath. Option, move through your vinyasa, any variation. Leading back in downward facing dog. Let's build our flow. Inhale, lengthen your right heel up to the sky. And again, as if you are moving through honey, draw your right knee to your nose. Stack your shoulders over your wrists and do so slow motion. Look forwards. Can you silently step your right foot between the hands? Maybe the answer is no, but give it a go. Now step your left foot a little further to the left and forwards. Anchor your left heel down and bend your right knee. Inhale to reach the arms up to the sky, warrior one. Now let's set this up from the ground up. So you want to feel strength building, heat building in your right leg, and a stretch through the front of the left hip, the left side hip flexors. So if you don't feel that, option, bend the right knee a little deeper. You can play with the ankle of your left foot, angling the toes in or out slightly. That will change the sensation. Or you can even step your left foot further forward or further back. Find a version of this shape that lands in your body. Now, wherever you are, pull your right heel towards the back of the mat. Pin the outer edge of your left foot down and squeeze your left side glutes. Draw the right hip crease back. Breathe lengthen to the sides of the waist. And can you soften the shoulders? If that means bringing the arms wider, that's all good. Go for it. If it's in your practice to press the palms, and you can do so without drawing the shoulders up into the ears, feel free to remember there are different variations of these shapes. Again, anytime if the right knee feels funky or has too much pressure on it, you can straighten the right leg. But if it's just simply a strength building, do your best to sit with it and breathe. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, clasp the hands behind you. If this is too much, you can clasp the wrists, forearms, or elbows. If you've got the clasp, work the heels of the hands towards one another and lift the heart up. Spread the collarbone, shine brightly through the chest. And as you invite this little back bend in, pull your low belly in. Take an inhale. Exhale, humble warrior, fold forwards. Surrender your right shoulder to the inseam of the right thigh. Let the head be heavy, let the muscles in the back of the neck soften. Simultaneous strength and humility in our humble warrior. The upper body surrenders to the lower body. 2 breaths. This is easy for you. You can work the heels of the hands towards one another and work the hands, the arms towards the front of the room, nearly there. Unbind, reach up, breathe in, and straighten your right leg. Reach your arms forward, 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 down, down, down. You can either bring your hands to your right shin or to the ground or to those stacks of books or blocks if they're there for you. Pyramid pose, breathe. This is too much. Take a bend in the right knee. Don't worry about how it looks. Worry about how it feels. Well, don't worry about how it feels, but tune into how it feels. You want to feel a stretch through the back of the right leg. This is easy for you. Tilt the pelvis slightly forward. That will deepen this stretch, but observe your edges, your limits, curiously. Good. Take 2 more breaths. Halfway lift, inhale, draw your hands to your shins and lift up, shine a little brighter through the chest. Exhale, fold. Bend your right knee, glide your arms up to the sky, warrior one. And fan open into warrior two. Open up through the arms, open up through your hips. So right knee roughly stacked over your ankle. Pin the outer edge of your left foot down, left foot at an angle. And peel your left hip back. So even bring your left hand to the front of the left hip bone, and peel it back. Now bring your right hand to the outside of your right knee and hug your right knee into your right hand. So squeeze the right side glutes. And then bring your arms parallel to the ground once again. Feel the low ribs lift away from the hip bones as you lengthen through the sides of the waist. And feel as if the arms are like a tug-of-war rope. So the right fingertips are charging forward, the left fingertips charging back, and the muscles in the arms rack onto the bone. Good, let these sensations simmer. Take one more breath. Straighten the right leg. Maintain this length through the sides of the waist as you reach your right fingertips forward, forward, forward. Down, 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 Trikonasana, triangle pose. Maybe hands comes to the right shin, maybe fingertip to the ground, but notice if that left hip starts to roll forward, can you peel it back? Feel that stretch through the left side of the waist. And if it's too much to like crank your head up to look at your thumb, that's fine, modify. You can either look to the wall in front of you, you can look at the ground. But can you do your best to engage your right side glutes to draw your right hip point forward and peel your left hip back simultaneously. Roll the barrel of your rib cage to the left as you pull the belly button to the right. Stay active at your core. Take 2 more breaths. Bend your right knee, reverse your warrior. Keep the left hand light down the outer seam of the left leg. Reach your right arm up and overhead. Left hand can search for the right hip crease. Soften the top of the right shoulder down. Take a deep breath in. Steady breath out. Expand through the right side lung. Breathe into the right side lung. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands to the ground. Reframe the right foot. Swivel onto the ball of your left foot. Step your right foot back to meet the left. High plank. And move through your vinyasa. Always the option to skip those out. And just meet in down dog. And when you're in your downward facing dog, take 3 rounds of breath. And just reset. Notice the left side of the body, the right side of the body. Observe any differences between the two. And can you feel the next inhale? Lengthen your left leg up to the sky. It's as if the breath is making that movement. How slowly can you curl forwards and draw the knee to the nose? Feel every incremental movement. And glide your left foot to the space between the hands. Good. Step your right foot a little further forward and over to the right. Pin the right heel down. Now, before we go any further, can you treat the 2 sides of the body independently? So don't just assume what you did on one side you can do on the other. 2 sides of the body can feel or even be built differently based on injury or where we're holding emotional or physical tension or just the anatomy of our bones. Bend the left knee, feel the left leg start to get strong as you inhale, arms rise. Warrior one. Generous bend in the left knee, feel that heat start to build. And feel that stretch through the front of the right hip, the right side hip flexors. Now, if this feels funky in the right knee, just play with the angle of your right foot. Maybe you want to position it over to the right or the left a little more. You make this shape your shape. So instead of trying to force your body into a cookie cutter shape, can you modify the shape accordingly to land in your body? Pull the left heel towards the back of the mat. Pin the outer edge of the right foot down and lift through the inner arch of the right foot. Feel that powerhouse of energy through the earth, up into the foot, up the length of your spine, and that energy even shoots up through your fingertips. Knit your low ribs in. Melt the shoulders away from the ears, maybe arms wider. Take a deep breath in. Steady breath out. Stay with me. One more inhale. Exhale, clasp the hands behind you. Work the heels of the hands towards one another. Roll the heads of the shoulders back. If that's too much, again, remember you can clasp at the wrists or forearms. And as you do, start to lift the heart up. If this is easy, work the heels of the hands together. If you can, empower the knuckles towards the ground as you lift the heart up. Point below your navel, above your pubic bone, hugs into the spine. Deep breath in. Exhale, left shoulder to the inseam of the left thigh. Allow the upper body to cascade over the lower body. Humble warrior. Can you let the head get a little heavier? The muscles in the back of the neck soften a little more. And take one more breath. Unbind, reach up, breathe in, straighten your left leg. Reach your arms forward, 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 down, down, down. Hands either come to the left shin, maybe to the ground, maybe to books. Take your left hip crease back the best you can. Draw your right hip point forward and lengthen the spine. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. And modify accordingly. Maybe a bend in the left knee, maybe the hands come up higher onto the shin. There's no end destination here. It simply is this moment you with yourself on your mat. Take one more breath. Bend the left knee. Ride the inhale, arms glide high, warrior one. Unravel into a warrior two, arms open up. Left toes point forward, right toes ankle in. Bring your right hand to the front of the right hip. Peel your right hip back, keep it there. Bring your left hand to the outside of your left knee and hug your left knee into your left hand. Spiral the inseams of your thighs outwards. Feel as if your femur bones, your upper thigh bones, were rotating externally. And then bring the arms parallel to the ground. Gaze over the left fingertips. Shoulders soften away from the ears. Soften the jaw. And feel your strength hold you here. Take two more slow, steady, anchored breaths. And slowly, slowly straighten that left leg. Reach the left fingertips forward, forward, forward. Down, down, down. Bring your left hand to your left shin. Maybe down to the ground. Extend your right fingertips high. Spiral the left side of the rib cage towards the right side of the rib cage and open through the chest. And simultaneously pull your navel to the left. So active here. Squeeze your left glute, draw your left hip point forward, peel the right hip back, that's it. And if it's too much to look up to your right fingertips, don't worry, look at the wall or the ground. Breathe some space into all the points where space is needed. And take one more breath. Keep the right hand light, bends the left knee, left hand slides down the outer seam, right hand slides down the outer seam of the right leg, Left arm reaches up and overhead, reverse your warrior. An option to draw the left hand to the right hip crease. Feel the left hip point anchor. Feel the left fingertips spark up. Breathe length into the left side body. Soften the left shoulder. Breathe into the left side lung. Take one more inhale. Exhale, dance the hands to the ground. Step back and move through your flow. Okay, we're going to link this little flow with our breath. So one breath, one movement. We'll start by clearing out that breath. Deep breath in. Exhale, empty. Right leg high, inhale. Knee to nose, exhale, step it through. Ground the left heel down, rise up, warrior one. Clasp the hands behind you, exhale. Lift the heart, breathe in. Humble warrior, breathe out. Unbind, reach up, inhale, straighten the right leg. Fold forwards, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Bend your right knee, rise up, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Straighten the right leg, inhale. Reach forward and down, Chikkanasana, exhale. Bend the right knee, reverse your warrior, breathe in. Plant your hands, step it back, and move through your flow. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, empty. Last side, inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose, step it through. Ground the right heel, rise up, warrior one. Clasp the hands behind you, opposite way, exhale. Heart lifts, breathe in. Humble warrior, breathe out. Stand up, reach up, left leg straightens, inhale. Fold forwards, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Bend the left knee, warrior one, inhale. Warrior two, exhale. Get expressive with your movement. Straighten the left leg, reach forward and down. Bend the left knee, reverse your warrior, breathe in. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step it back and flow. Then from your down dog, soften the knees to the ground, your hips to your heels, and come into a child's pose. So remembering those variations of child's pose from the beginning of class. Maybe the knees are wide, maybe they're together. Maybe the arms are forward or back. Whatever version of this shape lands in your body better right now. And for a few breaths, can you just let yourself receive? And slowly rise up to seated on the knees. We're going to take one little back bend before we make our way down to our mats. Come up to standing on the knees and tuck your toes. Bring your hands to your lower back. Pull your lower belly in and feel that engagement at your core. And start to lift the gaze up, lift your sternum, your breastbone up. Now with the hands supporting your lower back, can you visualize like you're lifting your shoulder blades up and over an imaginary bar? So think upward lift through your mid to upper back rather than back bend. And then from here, maybe if it's there for you, reach back, grab hold of one heel, maybe the other, maybe dropping your head back. If you've got a deeper variation of the shape you're working with, feel free to take it here. Take 2 more breaths. Slowly restack your spine. Sit your hips to your heels, untuck your toes, close your eyes, and bring your hands palms to face up. And just give yourself permission to feel. Whatever arises, sit with it for a couple breaths and let it pass. Flutter the eyes open. Extend the legs out in front of you and come to lying on your back. Bend the knees, plant your feet, and tee your arms out to the sides. Let yourself take up some space. Lift up your hips, bring them over to the right, and drop your knees over to the left. Gaze to the right. Simple twist. Allow your right shoulder to anchor towards the ground, the knees to anchor towards the ground. Two more breaths. Inhale, draw the knees back to center. Elevate the hips, bring them over to the left, and drip the knees over to the right. Look to the left. Simple twist, other side. Allow the left shoulder to anchor, allow the knees to anchor. Two more breaths. Inhale back to center. Elevate the hips, make sure they're in line with the rest of the spine. And then extend the legs out in front of you, arms by your sides. Make any adjustments you need to get entirely comfortable, so maybe a blanket over top of you or something for over the eyes. And find your final Shavasana. Feel as if gravity were exaggerated. The bones anchor even closer to the ground with each breath out. And let yourself be held here.